Thank you for taking your time. You are a super busy professional woman, a mother of 3, wife, running a home. You live 31 miles away. I would ask what your barriers are for taking this course, but I would really want to know why you would take this course, because it just seems like the odds are stacked against it.
I am generally someone, and I've just realized this about myself over the last few years, but I have to feel like I'm creating something. And so I get a lot of enjoyment out of the finished product, but also the process of creating something. While I get a lot of that fulfillment at the office, there's still a desire I have in my personal life to do something maybe more creative than I can do in an office environment. When you offered it, I told my husband I really wanted to do it. He gave it to me for Mother's Day.
Aww.
And that was perfect, because the fact that he paid for it for Mother's Day meant that I had to actually do it and not allow any meetings booked during that time period. And so I've just found over the last 3 weeks now, every week, I just have this excitement towards Friday afternoon that I know I get to totally disconnect. And so it builds all through the week. And then when I arrive, I go from being kind of this always on, you always see me, I'm always taking a phone call right up until the minute class starts. And then I turn my phone off and it's 3 hours for me. And so I just find during this time period, with everything going on, it's so heavy in the world, it's important to take some time for yourself and myself. And this is how I'm doing it.
Yeah. You said a lot in there that was really sparked an interest in me. What you do for a living isn't considered necessarily a creative field, but yet your creativity that you have outside of work seems to make you more successful at what you do. Is that true?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
Yes.
So yeah, because I always wonder, like, some people take the course maybe because they just love being creative, and you're a creative person, but you're also very successful in business. And so I just find that to be an interesting topic. I almost feel like it could be a book about like how creativity in your personal life fires neurons in your brain and makes you better at your professional career, because it's problem solving, right?
You're 100% there. And one of the things I've even learned in your class over the last 3 weeks is how it really does take layers of problem solving and creativity to get to this beautiful ending. And I find that a lot of the problems that we're asked to solve are not easy answers.
Right.
And it does take layers, and it takes sitting with something and walking away from it and coming back with fresh perspective. So even that discipline of stopping. And
it is, like, I've learned that a lot. 20 years of doing this, and the best gift of the whole 20 years for me is that negative space. When I'll have a thought or a question, sometimes it's philosophical, and I contemplate it in my mind, and then I just give it over to the subconscious and allow that negative space to let a part of my brain work without the conscious part of my brain clouding it. And it does provide clarity, and I do think there's something to that. I want to talk about the money. $2,500 for an art course. It's not a price point that's really doable by a lot of people, and even if it is, it sounds bad.
When you first priced it at $2,500, my first reaction was, I'm so glad she's valuing herself.
Aww.
We're operating in a moment in time when I think price is hard to talk about with a lot of people, but you have this real skill and it's really valuable. And so I think you've priced it at a point that you value yourself. So there are a lot of things that we spend money on, but there's a broad shift towards spending money on experiences and spending money on things that will last for the long term. And so this is really learning a new skill, but it's also taking care of yourself.
Right. People have been asking me for years to do private lessons, and I've always said no, because I know that there are accessible price points for trying art, but it's not the way I would do it. The way I would do it is to get the real deal, all the oil paint, all the supplies. Let's do a big canvas, not a, teeny tiny. This time with the quarantine was perfect for me because it pushed me to a point where I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to put it out into the world. And if the world doesn't like it, I'll find out. It took a lot of courage for me to do that.
There definitely has been a lot spent on supplies and on your time. And the one last thing I would just add is you are a small business. And we are all looking for ways to help small businesses during this time period. So I have to envision you have been very impacted by that. And
Yes, it's been scary. Okay, so now the schedule. You're busy 3 hours every Friday. You've learned to, it sounds like you've learned to carve out the time, set that boundary with yourself. Are there any schedule changes that you would make if you were designing this course?
for me, it has been perfect being at 2 o'clock. And so the end of the day, Friday, has been perfect because I leave the mindset of work and I emerge on the other side ready for the weekend.
Okay.
And so I don't miss any family time, and I can make up those 3 hours elsewhere in the week.
Good. And then as 5 weeks, I felt like we needed 5 weeks because
Yes.
it takes the time to build the layers. Are you good with that?
100%.
Okay.
Make
All
it
right.
6 or 7.
Right. The projects in the class, I wasn't sure because I'd never done it before. I knew I wanted to do a large scale canvas, so we're doing a 48 by 48, and then we're also doing a petite painting. And for me, there's a parallel in how to build a composition without being afraid to approach something big or small. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get to a third project, and I still don't know, but if you had any say so in what projects we would do, the scale or the medium substrate, is there anything you would change there?
No. For me, finishing a 48 by 48 will feel like a big accomplishment because that's been very intimidating. And then I've just been impressed with the petite paintings, how beautiful they can be and how freeing. It just
Right.
got me in the flow a lot faster, I feel like.
My teaching method.
A lot of what I've loved about your teaching method is that you have a few sayings like, and there's been a lot in the early weeks of just freeing me to get me to throw things out there onto the canvas, and that has just allowed me to get into the mindset and kind of learn in action. As I start to think about the next couple of weeks, it gets more and more scary. And so thinking through how do I bring this all together, and just even our text exchange over the weekend of here's what I'm envisioning and you having an idea is helping me get prepared for Friday when I
Right.
go in next. And so I think that connectivity maybe in between the week of maybe telling us to think through what is your idea for next week, send it to me by Wednesday, and then that
Okay.
way you could start thinking through how to coach us when we get into the room on how we might achieve that.
Right.
Or if you have a different path we might want to consider.
Some people, I think, still have a little bit of fear of just diving in head first. So I do think it helps too when we're engaged midweek too. So I'll do more of that, and I think that's good feedback. We have a professional gallery represented artist. We have someone has very little art experience, an art student. We have people from ages 16 to 65 and everything in between. So who do you think this course is for?
I think that this art class is for anyone who wants to have an impact. This is a way that you can broaden your horizons. This is a way that you can broaden how you think, how you solve problems.
Is there anything you would want to say to someone who is on the fence about taking this course?
I would honestly just dive in and do it. You will learn something that changes you in how you approach the world. And I'm 3 weeks in, and I'm already sad because I don't know what I'm going to do 3 weeks from now on a Friday afternoon, because it really it takes me from my day where I have 30-minute back-to-back meetings all day long into just a different kind of creative space, and it makes me a better person.